Picture looking up at the night sky and knowing an old friend is coming back. A visitor who returns every few decades, crossing the solar system like it's keeping a promise made centuries ago. Halley's Comet is that traveler. It shows up, captures entire generations, then vanishes into the cold. Maybe your grandparents pointed it out in 1986. Maybe you're counting the years until you see it yourself. That's how this comet connects us, a thread of light running through lives, eras, and memories. It links generations who never met but shared the same sky. Comets are frozen leftovers from when the solar system formed. Think of them as time capsules, a mix of dust, rock, and ice that holds onto materials from 4.5 billion years ago. Some are just a few miles across, others span dozens of miles. In 2014, Europe's Rosetta probe reached Comet 67P. It orbited the comet and even tried to land a module on its surface. That encounter gave us images nobody had ever seen before, and it revealed something surprising about the water locked inside that ice. The water on 67P has a different chemical signature than Earth's water. Not all ice in the solar system tells the same story. With comets, we learn as much about the past as we do about the future. But none of them captures our imagination quite like Halley. But this comet did something no other had done before. It taught astronomers to see a pattern where people once saw only random events, and that discovery would change how we understand the entire solar system. Until the 1600s, comets were seen as omens or unpredictable visitors. The English astronomer Edmund Halley changed everything by comparing records from 1531, 1607, and 1682. Instead of 3 separate events, he saw the same object returning at regular intervals. He calculated its orbit. Halley predicted the comet would return in 1758. He didn't live to see it happen, but when the comet appeared right on schedule, his name went into the history books. It became 1P Halley, the first catalogued periodic comet. P stands for periodic. On average, Halley goes around the Sun every 76 years. Sounds simple, but its path is anything but. A stretched ellipse covering about 7.6 billion miles per orbit. It plunges from deep space into the inner solar system and back out again. But here's what makes it tricky. The gravity of giant planets subtly tweaks the comet's orbit. Between 1835 and 1910, the gap was 75 years. In other eras, it stretched to 79 years. Same traveler, but with a slightly elastic clock. The first recorded sighting appears in 239 BCE in Chinese records. In 837 CE, the comet passed about 3 million miles from Earth. It reached a brightness almost like Venus at its best. Crowds across the world must have watched in wonder. In 1910, Halley came within about 14 million miles of Earth. For the first time ever, cameras captured it on film. That moment kicked off the comet's career as a celebrity of the night sky. But the real breakthrough was still decades away. 1986 changed everything. On February 9th, Halley made its most recent close pass, and for the first time, humanity was ready to meet it, face to face. A true armada of spacecraft was assembled. Probes from different countries set out to surround it. The Soviet Vega 1 and Vega 2 missions got close enough to capture images of the nucleus. Japan sent probes that added data on the coma and tail. Europe's Giotto spacecraft photographed Halley's core in detail nobody had seen before. What they found was unexpected. The nucleus was dark and irregular, about 9 by 5 miles across, a block of dirty ice with a surface that absorbs most light and reflects very little. One of the least reflective objects in the solar system. That surprised anyone who imagined comets as bright snowballs. The comet's brilliance doesn't come from the nucleus itself. It comes from clouds of gas and dust released when the sun heats the surface. Near its closest approach, jets of material form the tails we see. But that activity comes at a price. With each approach to the sun, layers of material peel off. Some estimates say the comet loses between 3 and 10 feet of surface material per orbit. Over time, it changes, thins, and evolves. If erosion goes too far, a comet can lose all its ice. It stops producing tails. It ends up as a dark, rocky body that sometimes crumbles into dust. For most periodic comets, the lifespan ceiling hovers around 1,000 passages. But Halley keeps going. Scientists calculate it's been on its current orbit for at least 16,000 years. A veteran that hasn't shown obvious signs of retirement. And right now, it's already heading back toward us. On December 8, 2023, Halley reached its farthest point from the Sun, about 35 astronomical units out, well beyond Neptune. It hit minimum speed, like a U-turn on a cosmic track. That moment officially marked the start of its return journey. From there, the comet picks up speed again, drawn by the Sun like a stone thrown in an arc, returning toward the center of the gravitational field. That out-and-back path sets the rhythm of a celestial clock that simply responds to cosmic nudges. There's a side effect to this dance. The debris Halley sheds stays scattered along its orbital trail. When Earth crosses that trail, tiny particles slam into our atmosphere and burn up. They trace brief streaks of light across the sky. 2 annual meteor showers come directly from Halley's tail, the Eta Aquariids in May and the Orionids in October. Even when the comet is billions of miles away, it sends postcards of light to remind us it's on the way back. In 1986, the geometry wasn't ideal. The comet appeared dimmer than many hoped. But 2061 will be different. Earth and Halley will be on the same side of the Sun, a setup that favors a much brighter display. Studies estimate it could reach magnitude 0.3, bright enough to see easily with the naked eye. More striking than in 1986. Worthy of entire nights of watching. If you plan to be around, mark 2061 on your calendar. What we see depends on several factors. The Sun's angle, Earth's position, how much material is ready to turn to gas, how active the nucleus is during that pass. Halley has a reputation for delivering, but it's not a spotlight under our control. Every eye will find a different Halley, lower on the horizon for some, higher for others, clearer on dry nights, dimmer under city lights. Part of the magic is that uncertainty, the kind that gets us outside to look up. Halley helped establish the idea that comets follow laws and orbits, not random paths. It proved that these ancient travelers are predictable, and it showed us that the same visitor can connect grandparents to grandchildren across decades. When Halley returns, much down here will have changed. Brighter cities, better telescopes, phone cameras more powerful than anything from 1986, but the gesture will be the same. Step outside, look up, search for a trace of light. A comet that appears every 76 years isn't just an astronomical event. It's a time marker in people's lives. The comet leaves, but the memory stays. And deep down, it carries human stories in its tail. See you in 2061.